Hello, folks, and welcome to the Democratizing SEO podcast, a podcast for marketers who seek to have a better understanding of the SEO channel in order to engage with it more successfully. My name is Austine Esezobor. I am an SEO consultant and your host for this podcast. All right. I've been an SEO guy for over a decade now. I've worked both client side and agency side, having worked at agencies and also managed agencies whilst working client side. I've formed an opinion on why some agencies haven't delivered a shit service when it comes to SEO. I'm going to break down this opinion piece into 3 parts. The point of these is to hopefully give you something to think about when working with or choosing an agency, an SEO agency to work with. Because SEO sometimes comes down to the talent you have. It's important to be aware of the talent you have working on your account and indeed the leadership of the talent. So, one reason why some agencies have a shit SEO service is because of the leadership. SEO is still a relatively new digital marketing channel. It's a baby. Historically, the leadership at agencies, and in this context, I'm including everyone from middle management upwards. I'm talking about management leadership as a broad spectrum. Historically, the leadership at agencies, as it pertains to digital marketing, are from what generation? Gen X's, right? Gen X's came up on the boomers. Whilst boomers have been in marketing way before digital marketing, they weren't the first generation to really come up on digital marketing. Gen X's were. In a similar way, you may find Gen X's on social media, on TikTok, for example. But Gen Z are really the generation coming up into the workforce with the expansion of social media, Gen X's came into the workforce with the emergence of digital marketing. The way Gen X's saw their leaders, boomers, servicing marketing needs is very different to the way younger marketers service marketing needs because of the emergence of digital marketing. Because digital marketing was so new during the period of boomer leaders in agencies, they relied heavily on Gen X's, taking the realm in servicing digital marketing needs. This is to say, Gen X's saw and were taught a leadership style that was very hands-off. In other words, boomers didn't know what the heck they were doing with digital marketing, so their leadership to Gen X's was rubbish. Gen X's came up in a time where they had to figure things out with autonomy, ownership. This is why they had a habit of working late, burning the midnight oil, going to extreme lengths to deliver. Why does all of this matter? It all matters because this type of leadership style was used on and taught to millennials. If Gen X's came up on digital marketing, what did millennials come up on? SEO. The leaders to millennials are Gen X's. Gen X's don't know SEO, or didn't in the early days. What do they do when they need to service SEO and don't really know SEO? They rely heavily on those who do know, millennials. And as such, when it comes to servicing SEO, the part that Gen X's are very familiar with and comfortable with is the selling of the service, not the doing of the service, the selling of the service. The selling of the service has been the part of SEO that's easiest to grasp. What part of SEO has historically been the easiest to grasp? What does everyone think SEO is all about? Keywords, rankings, and you guessed it, links. What was the most profitable part of SEO that agencies sold? Links. Up until Penguin, SEO was synonymous with links, backlinks. Selling backlinks was a quick win for agencies. Heck, this was money in the bank, a cash cow for agencies. When it came to SEO, agencies, and by extension, the leadership at agencies, Gen X's, focus more on selling the service rather than performing the service. What did we have as a result? We had leaders at agencies who were more salespeople than marketers, at least when it comes to digital marketing. A big problem within the SEO industry is non-SEOs selling SEO when they do not know much about SEO. Not only do they not know much about SEO, they rely heavily on SEOs to service what they have sold. There used to be a big gap between non-SEO leaders selling the service and those who actually are SEOs, who are hired and tasked to deliver the service. Thankfully, this is changing now. There are now many more SEOs in leadership positions at agencies these days. Just as I advocate for brands to engage more with SEO at all levels, including the board level, this is something that needs to be in place at agencies. An agency that service SEO needs, that have a leadership team that does not include an SEO person, is an agency that's going to provide you with a shit SEO service. Count on it. When working with an agency, scrutinize the leadership team. Ensure the agency has been doing SEO for several years at least. You'll have a hard time with an agency that's new to servicing SEO. Carry out research on their churn rates, both employees within SEO or at least digital marketing, and the churn of the clients they provide SEO services to. If their client retention is low and their ratings are low, run. You'll have a hard time working with them. They won't service you, you'll service them as experience they learn from for the next clients they then service. If you have a relationship with an agency that you're not very happy with, consider the leadership behind the service you're receiving. Now, I'm not referring to the overall leadership of the agency, although there is something to be said of this. But I'm referring specifically to the leadership behind the SEO service being offered to you. Like SEO itself, the more you're aware of the agency you hire, the more likely you are to flourish with your SEO. Why? Simple. SEO, sometimes, comes down to the talent you have. It's important to be aware of the talent you have working on your account, and indeed, the leadership of the talent. All right, folks, let's leave it there for now. Stay tuned for more from Democratizing SEO subscribe to the podcast. You can find it on your podcasting app of choice. All right, folks. My name is Austine Esezobor. I'm an SEO guy. I'll be with you on a weekly basis to enlighten you on wielding SEO to success. That'll do it for now, folks. Until next time, bye for now.